Hello and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that urges you to stick around until the end of this video to find out what my top 5 favorite rock and roll albums are of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, today, however, we're going to take a look at World War Hulk, the new expansion to Legendary from Upper Deck. World War Hulk from Upper Deck, of course, is the new expansion to Legendary, which brings Incredible Hulk and all his crazy Hulk friends into the game of Legendary in a big, big way. Of course, we've seen Hulk before, but this is his time to shine, baby. Green shine. Isn't that what they drank in the 20s during Prohibition? I don't know. The game boasts a number of new mechanics. Now, of course, you have transformation. Many of Hulk and the Hulk friends, of course, transform in this game. And how that works is essentially you have a number of transform cards in the decks, in the hero decks. Well, instead of mixing those in with regular hero decks to form your hero deck, you essentially take the transform cards for those individual heroes and place them to the side of the board. Now, during the game, certain events may trigger, and it may turn some of your regular cards, like a Bruce Banner card, into a Bruce Banner transformed card that features the Hulk. But there are several different versions of these. Amadeus Cho has one, Gladiator Hulk has one, a few rather. So there's a bunch of different cards that transform. You even have transforming villains, masterminds. Essentially, the mastermind, when they are attacked or something triggers, a master strike or scheme twist, they actually transform, meaning they flip over to a much more powerful side, and then they may transform back as well. You have the Outwit keyword. Outwit essentially means a certain event will trigger either from a hero or a villain if you can essentially play 3 cards that have 3 different costs associated with them. If you've done that, you've outwitted, and you get whatever particular benefit, or you avoid whatever evil problem is going to come up in the deck. You also have Smash, which represents Hulk's great power. For instance, the card may say Smash 3. Now, whenever it says Smash, it means to discard a card. So if it says Smash 3, and you discard a card, that would mean you would get 3 attack points for discarding that card. It's a useful way to turn not very useful cards into very powerful cards. You also have Wounded Fury. Now, on a hero, Wounded Fury means if you have so many wounds in your discard pile, you get more attack points. If, however, a villain comes out with Wounded Fury, it means it costs more attack points to hit them, depending on the number of wounds in your discard pile. The game also has some of the keywords we've seen before: cross-dimensional rampage, traps, feast. So some of these things are coming back again alongside these newer keywords. One of the big things we all love about Legendary are the schemes, and this one, of course, being a big box expansion, has 8 schemes, and some of the more fun and interesting ones I'll tell you about right now. You've got Shoot Hulk into Space, where Hulk is on a prison ship. You have a prison ship deck that you can recruit from there. However, when there are too many cards in the prison ship, time runs out and you lose. You have Mutating Gamma Rays, where essentially you're going to be, with Twist, you're going to be creating these kind of mutation deck. You get 7 twists out there. Of course, evil wins. You've got the Gladiators of Sakaar. Now, this one is very interesting. Essentially, when twists come out, you can only play on your next turn cards of certain hero affiliations, and you lose the game, the evil wins, if so many villains have escaped or the villain's deck runs out. There is Subjugate with Obedience discs. Essentially what happens here is as scheme twists come out, you place them underneath the HQ, and that kind of makes them harder to recruit, the heroes harder to recruit, and of course evil wins when there are 2 subjugation twists, underneath each hero in the HQ. The game also comes with 4 new bystanders that of course allow you to do fun and interesting things. Now, of course, as always, I'm not that up on the actual comic books that this is based on. I know World War Hulk was a series. I think they kind of incorporated some of that in the last Thor movie with the Gladiator and whatnot. But here, of course, you have a number of familiar and interesting heroes. You have Bruce Banner, you have Amadeus Cho, you have Kyra, I believe that's how it's pronounced. You have Gladiator Hulk, you have Korg, you have Joe Fixit, you have Rick Jones, you have She-Hulk, you have Sentry, you have Hulkbuster Iron Man, Namora, a few more heroes here. So there are a ton of new heroes. And of course, they're all bringing these keywords into play. They're mixing well, they're matching well. Your henchmen in this group are Cytoplasm Strike's Death's Head and Sakaran Hivelings. Your villain groups are Code Red, Intelligentsia, Illuminati, Sakaar Imperial Guard, UFOs, and Warbound. Now, of course, you also have those kooky masterminds that we talked about. And again, these things can transform back and forth. You just flip the card over. You have General Thunderbolt Ross, the Illuminati Secret Society, Sakarson, MODOK, the Red King, and the Sentry. Now, again, all of these different villains are, of course, bringing their own unique Master Strike and things into play, but of course they've got their own special tactics cards as well, like we know and love from the Legendary series. Now, there are just way too many cards to get in and show you everyone in the depth I'd like to, but I gotta tell you, this is a very, very fun expansion to Legendary. A lot of cool stuff here I really, really like. I like the transformation. I like that idea of taking cards, putting them aside, and they're very powerful cards, but only certain things within the game can actually bring them into the game. I think that is so cool. I really like that one a lot. The Smash is pretty fun too. Like I say, you can get rid of some of those weaker cards and make them actually work for you in this game. Unlike, you just grab a hand and it's like, I can't do anything. Here, you got a shot with some of those Smash cards to do something with like those starting cards that normally don't help you out that much. So I really like that as well. I really like a lot of the transforming masterminds. I think that's fun because you can't plan exactly how you're going to defeat them when they're going back and forth all the time. You may think you got enough attack value to go after kind of the lower strength one, and then suddenly something happens, he flips, and you can't go after him. I like that. It's a nice little change, and it kind of screws with your planning in the game, and I like that. So you're still trying to get as much attack as you can, of course, but here you just can't be sure from turn to turn if it's going to be enough. So I've only played a few of the schemes so far. My favorite one so far is the disc, the one where you put the two scheme twists below the hero. You have to go 1 1 1 1 1. You can't do 2 2 2. You've got to kind of spread them out evenly. So everything gradually becomes more expensive, but critically, you're trying to prevent these discs from getting all over the HQ, and you've got to beat the mastermind before that happens. So it's just a good timing mechanism that I really like a lot, that at the same time penalizes you the more the scheme twists come out. Make sure you shuffle that deck really well, though, because when those scheme twists come out, it's brutal. But, what I played with all of them are fun. I really like this expansion a lot, and I say that about a lot of expansions. The last one I played, the Champions, I was so on. That was probably one of my biggest... I liked it. It's good. And if you're a completist, you'll like it and you'll have fun with it. But it's probably my least favorite expansion so far, the Champions version. And it's so fun to remember how much I love what they can do with expansions and to make new and exciting mechanics. And that was one of the problems with Champions. It didn't seem like there was enough new stuff there. And the one thing they'd had, the cheering crowds or whatever, was good, but it was... it's good, but it felt like it was maybe a little overpowered at times. Here, I really like what they've done with Hulk. I love, first of all, that aspect here. You'll notice I'm wearing a Superman t-shirt, which is DC, I know. But interesting story that I just thought of as I was talking to you now. When I was 6 years old, I was hit by a car, and it was a very bad situation. The doctors and stuff were convinced I was going to die, and then they thought I was going to have severe brain damage. Fool them, right? And but anyway, I ended up recovering really quickly. But I was walking home from kindergarten, and I was wearing my favorite Incredible Hulk t-shirt. And I wore that every chance I could get because I loved the Incredible Hulk as a kid. I remember I'd go to the neighbors and I go, and they knew to back off because I was hulking out. But of course, I was when the Incredible Hulk TV show was on at that time, so that's why I like the Hulk so much. But my point is, when they put me in the ambulance, they tore my Incredible Hulk t-shirt off of me. And I was so mad at them when I found out that they destroyed my Hulk t-shirt. Found it later, and it was just rags with blood covered all over it, so I doubt I could have worn it much after that anyway. But Hulk has always had a special place in my heart because of that. And because I loved him as a kid, and of course that experience. So I was really looking forward to this set, even though, again, I don't really read the comics or anything like that. I love Hulk, and I love what they've done with it. I love this expansion. So I'd still say probably my favorite expansion that I played from Legendary is still probably X-Men. I think if you got to get just one expansion to X-Men, big box expansion, or any expansion for that matter, get X-Men. I think that's my favorite expansion. And Dark City's pretty good too. But I don't know. World War Hulk, I may put it 2 or maybe behind Dark City, but right up there at the top, I would put World War Hulk because it is that much fun. So the recommendation for the discriminating gamer for World War Hulk, undoubtedly, unreservedly, is you're going to want to buy this one if you like the Legendary. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We are The Discriminating Gamer, and you know, ladies and gentlemen, now it is the time for my top 5 rock and roll albums of all time. Number 5, Queen, A Night at the Opera. Number 4, David Bowie, Diamond Dogs. Number 3, The Beatles, Help. Number 2, The Beatles, Abbey Road. And my number 1 rock and roll album of all time, The Traveling Wilburys, Volume 1. Good night, everybody.
Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
11, 12.
Doo-doo.